Memories of wrestling the Ortons.
Whew. Orton Sr. he was so awesome. I mean, he didn't do anything in the ring that was a wasted motion. I mean, he made everything count, every move, every step, his look, his demeanor, his everything. And that's what got his son in some trouble. Because his son, Bob Jr., I don't think kind of saw what his dad was doing in the ring. To him, it just looked like his dad wasn't doing anything. Mm-hmm. But when you look through that and watched, he was doing it all with very little movement, as far as registering and selling and facial expression and all that kind of stuff. And Junior was wrestling Dick Slater one night in Orlando, and it was horrible. I come back to the back, and Slater goes, "Hey man, I'm trying to earn a living just like you. What's your problem? What do you won't sell anything? You won't do anything?" Orton says something like, "Well, if you could do anything in real life that I would sell or something, then I would." Ooh, Slater hit him. I was standing in the dressing room talking to Orton Sr. I thought a bomb went off. The dressing room door flew open and hit the wall. And I ducked, figuring here comes all the building down or whatever. And I as I turned my head, Orton Jr. went sailing across the floor on his heels. I mean, it hit him so hard he went through the door and 10 or 12 feet across the dressing room, hit the wall, and just slid down the wall. Blood, knocked out. And here comes Slater behind him. Orton Sr. jumps in front of his son hey, And Slater said, "I just kicked your kid's ass. I'm going to kick yours next if you don't get out of my way." Senior said, "Wait a minute now. I'm just trying to see what's going on here. I mean, he's knocked out. What else can you do to him,
Right.
And it's like, he was huffing and, yeah, back to Slater and Dusty.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty was always more of a easygoing, fun-spirited, comical kind of guy in the ring, where Slater was down to business. You had to be paying attention when you were in there with him.
Yeah.
So, but I only wrestled him one time over at the Bayfront Center in St. Pete, and it was quite a match. Yeah, it was quite a match.
Talking about we'll stay with the Ortons, Randy Orton. No, he's succeeded. He's doing well for himself.
I don't know Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't had an opportunity to meet him one time, and it didn't go very well. I think he needs to meet a modern day Dick Slater.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So he's worse than I guess the lack of respect, would you say?
Yeah, just attitude. I showed him a picture of his father and myself when we were 14 years old with my mom.
The picture you carry with you.
And some other people. And he looked at it and he threw it down on the floor, just to throw it away. I mean, I was in shock. I couldn't believe he would do something like that.
With his own father in it?
Yeah, with his own father in it. So I don't know if he doesn't get along with his dad. I don't know. I haven't seen Bobby in years and years and years. So I just kind of blew it off. And Wade Boggs was sitting at the bar. Wade grew up in Tampa and watched me wrestle and everything. He jumped up. I went, "No, easy, Wade, easy. No, it's all right. It's all right." I said, karma's a funny deal. I said, everybody that gets around and does that kind of stuff and has that attitude, and sure enough, 4 months later, he's out for a while. Motorcycle crash.
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, karma will get you every time. So, and I know he's young, and hopefully I wish him the best, and I got a new baby and everything, and I hope everything comes out well, but he needs an attitude adjustment. Why
do some second generation wrestlers make it? You made it, Randy Orton made it, but then you have other wrestlers who came from great fathers, David Sammartino and David Flair. Just
it's a funny business, and bloodlines. I mean, you can take two brothers that were born a year apart, and they're two completely different people. One of them can be a very successful businessman and just everything going great and all that, and the other brother can be a drug addict and not be able to keep a job. So just because you have a name isn't a guarantee that you're going to be successful. You have to have the ability, you have to have the respect, you have to have everything else that goes with it. And some guys don't have the respect for other people. They never get respect from the other wrestlers. Don't have the ability. David Flair, God bless him, he's a great kid. I know him, but he just started too young. He was put in some situations that he was not ready for, and I think had a lot of resentment from some of the other guys. So when somebody resents you, well, you can be assured that if they can take advantage of you, they're going to. Mm-hmm. And I think he got a lot of problems instead of guys wanting to help him and that kind of stuff. Guys resented that he was getting an opportunity that they felt they should have had, and wouldn't help him and wouldn't talk to him and wouldn't do stuff. So sometimes it's just how you're used and how you're treated. But David's always a great kid. You know, I mean, he was always very, very likable, very nice. But you know, he had big rosy cheeks and great big eyes. He was like 17 or 18 years old and didn't look athletic and didn't look the part, much less know the part. So just some people make it, some people don't. In any walk of life, whether you're a policeman or a school teacher or anything, some do and some don't, and that's just the way it is.
In 1972, you won PWI Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. How was that for you? Did that help you catapult your career, or what? Did it really?
Yeah, I mean, it was really neat to be that young and to be in that league with some guys that were unbelievable. Gave me some credibility in Florida, and then I would go to New York and work occasionally, not too much. But in the magazines, back then to be in a magazine was big time, you know, because it was before cable TV, it was before all that kind of stuff. So the magazines were really the national publicity. So when people in Florida saw one of their Florida guys in a magazine that was going around the world, ooh, they thought, boy, look, we got a guy in the magazine. So sure it helped. Sure it made people respect and set me a little different than some of the other guys they just said, oh, those are just local guys in Florida, but here Mike's recognized nationally. So yeah, it helped.
Okay. Thoughts on the Hollywood Blondes?
Dick Slater and I wrestled against the Hollywood Blondes and Humperdinck, and Jerry Brown was giving Slater a little problem or whatever, and Slater reached up, just grabbed him by the head, picked him up, and just no wrestling move, no body slam, no, just reached out, grabbed him by the head, picked him up, pounded him off the mat, dropped down on top of him with his knees on his arms, and like just looked at him with his fist balled up, and I'm screaming, "Don't kill him! Don't kill him!" And then he looked at me, and he got up and he puffed off of him, tagged me. Went back in the dressing room when the match was over, and stupid Jerry, he thought he was, you know, Slater was a young kid. He'd been around for a little while, and I guess he thought that he could manhandle him, whatever. Another knockout for Slater.
Tough son of a bitch.
Yeah. At Beach Week in high school, and I'm talking thousands of people, not just a couple high school kids. College people from college, people from all over the state of Florida would go to Clearwater, Indian Rocks, all through that area for Beach Week when school would get out. Slater was the guy that you tried to beat. He was the man.
Really?
Yeah, he was the man. And he beat up college guys, high school guys. He didn't care. I mean, he hit like a cotton-picking horse. His senior year of high school, we had a wrestling team at school, so that's when he started learning how to wrestle, along with being able to hit. He played football, offense, defense. Once the whistle blew to start a football game, he never left the field. The offensive team would go off, he'd just stand there for the defensive team to come out. The defensive team would go off the field, he'd just stand there for the offensive team to come out. He was on special teams. He did everything. He never left the field. He played a solid football game with no rest.
Wow.
Offense, defense, special teams, everything. You know, so he was just an incredible athlete. And then just everything fell in naturally. You know, from the first time he got in the ring, he had it.
Another it man.
He had it. He was in a real bad car accident the first year he was in the wrestling business in Amarillo. Guy driving the car got killed, and Slater went out through the roof, and it scrambled his brain. He was a little slow after that. You could tell he'd really have to watch and pay attention to what you're saying and everything. It was real bad the first year or so after it happened. And then it kind of calmed down and he got somewhat back to normal. He was never the same guy again. That car accident hurt him, hurt his head. And then this business is going to hurt your head anyway.
Yeah.
And but he was just one of those guys, man. If he was your buddy, you were in. If he didn't like you, he's going to let you know it, and there was nothing you could do about it.
Black and white.
Yeah. You didn't like it? Too bad. He was going to rip your head off.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.